Hey guys, so I just wanted to talk to you today about a topic that's not really that widely discussed. Like when I was going through this, I wasn't able to find much information about it, especially in young people. So I wanted to bring forth some information for any of the quite unlucky people who have to go through this in the future. So I had my surgery, which was a C2, C1-C2 wire fusion 6 weeks ago today. So today's the 6 week post-op date. Yay. Um, and my injury actually occurred in quite a strange manner. Um, I had a prior injury about 8 to 9 years ago when I was doing gymnastics. However, it was misdiagnosed and they just thought it was a sprain. I went to physical therapy. Like, no one ever had told me at that point that anything was broken. And then, like, I lived my life. Fast forward to about 2 years ago in May of 2015. And I decided to make, which ended up being quite one of the worst mistakes ever. So I decided to go to a chiropractor, and literally that night I felt like weird symptoms, like kind of like nerve impingement type things. But I mean, I literally had no reason to think there was anything wrong with my neck, so I continued going for a few months and then eventually I stopped. And all this time, like, the pain was increasing. I was getting like more weird symptoms, and I thought that there was something like very devastatingly, like seriously deadly wrong with me. So I was almost scared to go to a doctor. But anyways, so fast forward to November of 2016, which was last year, and I went to my first orthopedic surgeon, and he diagnosed me as having an os odontoideum, which is a bone anomaly, which is a common reason why people will have C1-2 fusions. But they kind of said that I could wait, that it wasn't completely necessary to get this procedure done right now. So of course, like, I'm 21. I'm in college. I'm not trying to have a procedure like this that is going to affect my life forever. So I wait and I decide to get a second opinion from a top neurosurgeon in the where I live. So after a few back and forth visits, he was kind of in agreement that like it was necessary, but I could wait a little, like it's not dire. And he finally ordered a CT, and that's when it was determined that my C2 was fractured. It was a type 2 odontoid fracture, and basically was putting me at imminent risk for death or paralysis if I came across any type of trauma. So this was quite terrifying, and also I found out about this like dire part of the situation literally a day before I was going on a international trip. So I wasn't about to cancel my trip. So I went on the trip, had a good time. Luckily nothing happened, came back, and 2 days later on July 21st, 2017, I had this procedure. So I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit about the recovery. So my surgeon was pretty I I don't know if he was conservative. Like, he really wanted to give me like the best quality of life, so he chose to do the wire method. There's a few different methods for the C1-2 fusion, and the Brooks Gale wiring method tends to give you a more of a range of motion because you're not, and it also prevents the possibility of injuring the vertebral artery. But anyways, so now let's talk about the actual recovery. So the first 2 weeks were absolutely terrible. Like, there's really no other way to describe it. Like, I was in the hospital for 3 days following the procedure. Um, the hospital wasn't that bad because, they're giving you Dilaudid. So, you're really not going to feel much. Like, you don't think it's going to be that bad. But then you go home, and the first day home was definitely the worst pain I've ever experienced in my entire life. Like, I I'm not gonna lie to y'all, like, it's this is not fun. Like, this is not easy. Like, even with the Percocets and whatnot, it was still very difficult. And like, I'm like a young, active person. Like I go to the gym at least 5 times a week. Like I always doing things, like I'm a senior and I just started my senior year of college. So not being able to like work out and like kind of having to be sedentary was definitely difficult for me in the first few weeks. However, um, I am going to say that it does get better after the first 2 weeks. So the first 2 weeks, my surgeon wanted me to wear the collar 24/7. It was a Miami J collar, a terrible thing, not fun, can't breathe, couldn't wash my hair. It was very like not ideal at all. However, I felt like I was definitely like every day was seeing improvements, and within 10 days like I was completely done with the Percocets, and I would only take Tylenol extra strength, which is I thought was pretty good. Like I didn't want to be on those. Like I still probably have about like 80 left. So that goes to show that I like really did not need them as much. So at 2 weeks, I went for a post op appointment with the PA, which, just to give y'all a heads up, in like a lot of scenarios, you're really not going to have a lot of contact with your surgeon, which to me is like slightly annoying because it's like you went up here and did this huge procedure on my neck, and now it's like you don't want to see me for 10 weeks. It's like, okay, yeah, like I haven't even seen this man since the day I discharged. But anyways, so at the 2 week post up, I was definitely feeling way better. And I mean, I definitely was not wearing this thing 24/7. Like I would take it off at some points and like ice my neck, because the collar is definitely a double-edged sword where it does like obviously prevent things from moving around in a crucial period of healing, but it makes your neck muscles atrophy and your neck is just so stiff. It's like not even like a rotating thing at that point. But at the 2 week post op, I was finally allowed to shower without this thing. They removed the staples because during this procedure, they will pin your head onto the operating table so it will stay straight. And they had to put 2 staples in my head. So they took those out. And the PA cleared me to like do like light types of exercises and like kind of like build up and wean off the collar, which I was pretty happy about because, like I said, working out is very important to me, and I'm not like a person who likes to just sit around. Um, so like I definitely started off slow. Like I kind of just started with like a stationary bike that had back support and like did some leg exercises because like a leg press or something like that is really like literally not at all going to affect your neck. Like this was week 2 and I was fine. So as time went on, I definitely have like built up more, and I'm definitely not doing the types of workouts that I was before. However, I it's like not that bad. Like the only time, so right now, the only time that I'm actually wearing this brace is when I work out, because that's obviously when you're gonna have the most movement. Like if someone like bumps into me or anything like that, like I'm not trying to, go backwards here because this is not a fun procedure. But at a week 4, I actually was starting classes, and it's like I used to ride my bike to class, but I actually got a vehicle because of this situation. And I mean, they really the directions are very vague, which is part of the reason why I wanted to make this video, because there are literally like no sources except from other people who have made videos or comments, and a lot of these comments on these forums are from like 2011. And I know that there's other people out here in the world, especially like younger people, who need information about this procedure. And it's most doctors don't even know that much about it because it's not something that's that often done. Like the ACDFs with like the lower levels or like the back procedures are more common. But anyways, back to the topic here. Um so around week 4, I started driving to class. Like I only lived like a mile away from my school, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Last week I drove farther, and it's honestly fine. Like I would definitely say like if you have the luxury of having a backup mirror or a backup camera, excuse me, that is definitely helpful. Like now I could definitely like turn around more, but like at the beginning it was like much more a little bit painful to like you have to be really careful about backing up if you do not have a backup camera because of what this surgery does to your range of motion. So, here we are, 6 weeks to the day from this procedure. The incision is pretty much healed. Like they put all this glue stuff on it that is slowly but surely coming off. And as I'm sure if anyone is watching this, like you've probably heard that you're gonna lose up to 50% of your range of motion in your neck, and that is definitely true. But I will say that, like, honestly, like it's really not, like I was terrified. Like I thought I was gonna die on the table, like this, that, like I thought my life would be like ruined. But honestly, it really hasn't been like that bad after the immediate acute recovery period. So I'm gonna show y'all right now like what my current range of motion is. I do hope to go to physical therapy once I do meet with this surgeon in 3 weeks, and I actually don't even have complete confirmation that the fusion is occurring, but I'd like to think the fact that I'm not in pain and I'm like improving, like I would think you would know if something like seriously was wrong. But okay, so this is right to left. Hold on 1 second. Okay. And here is to the left. The left is definitely more restricted. I'm not really sure why. Going down is like pretty much the same as it was before. And then going backwards is slightly constricted as opposed to like before. But I do feel like I do have more of a range of motion than people that have the harms technique, which uses rods and screws. So if you are about to have this procedure, I would definitely try to speak to your surgeon about the alternative of using the wire method, because it definitely does, while it is slightly less stable, it does provide much noticeably more range of motion than the screw and rod method. So, yeah, I meet with my surgeon in 3 weeks. I'm hoping that the x rays will show and be in line with how I've been feeling. And I hope to be able to like get back into like normal lifting routine soon. Like I haven't been squatting or like doing any deadlifts or like I actually or like back work or chest work, just because that definitely puts more of a strain on your neck than leg work does. But yeah, like I just wanted to give people an update. I hope at least one person could find this video helpful. And if you have any more questions, just comment or message me and I will be happy to answer them. All right, thanks guys.